You've circled the dates, you've booked your flight, you've booked your hotel, and now the World Series of Poker is just weeks away in Las Vegas. But are you going to be showing up unprepared? That's a much bigger punt than misclicking a shove. So let's lock in a plan, even before you step into the Paris or the Horseshoe. Hi, it's Jason Velasco over at Balanced Poker, and I treat the WSOP like a marathon, not a sprint. So if Vegas burns you out by day 2, well, those bracelet dreams die really, really fast. So we get a mailbag question that came in from Caitlin. And Caitlin, thanks again for your question. She asked, I'm playing in my first WSOP events this summer. What should my prep look like so I don't feel overwhelmed and exhausted? Well, Caitlin, I tell you, this is something that I have gone through before, and this is something that many other players have gone through before. You get to the series, you're all pumped up, and then by the end of 3 or 4 days of grinding away for like 15, 16 hours, you're completely exhausted. Let's spend a few minutes and talk about what we need to be able to spend, because most players underestimate this every single year. The first thing that you should do is make sure you have a game plan so that you're not just jumping into whatever next tournament's out there. Make sure you're mapping out which events you're going to be looking to play, what are their timelines, when are their start dates, what are their prize pools, making sure they fit within your bankroll, which we'll get to shortly. But make sure that you want to map out specifically which tournaments you want to play. So I've built a full calendar in my calendar so I can actually see what's overlapping, which ones have day 1s, which has day 2s, and I'm happy to jump on some calls, or maybe we'll do another video on how we do that. And so I think that's really important. Make sure you're planning and make sure you've got whatever number of buy-ins you need to be able to do. Number 2, health. That's going to be your hidden edge. Make sure you're getting hydration. Make sure you've got a good sleep schedule. Make sure you've got 15-minute daily walk routine to make sure your mind's staying sharp. Even get to the gym if you possibly can, just for 15 minutes or 30 minutes. That's really, really important. But hydrate during the event, because that's the first thing that's going to bring you down if you're not hydrating. If you're drinking alcohol, if you're drinking a bunch of sodas, that's going to wear you out pretty fast. And folks, remember, our non-negotiables are sleep. That is one of the hardest things to do when we're trying to grind a big series out, because your mind's still wandering, your mind's still active, and sleep is so critical. So make sure you're taking that downtime to try to get at least your 7 to 9 hours sleep if you possibly can. You know, sometimes it's just going to be okay to late reg and not have to start from level 1. In fact, sometimes that's even got more value to it. All right, number 3, I would think about doing bankroll firewalls. Make sure you know what you're going to be playing in cash games and which one is tournament money. You just don't try to mix them up in time, because the next thing you know, you've set your tournament bankroll and a cash game and you're stuck 4 or 5 buy-ins, or vice versa. Make sure you've got those firewalls broken down between those 2 components. Number 4, make sure you're studying still. You gotta get in and do a little bit of studying. Now, because I treat it as a marathon, I'm not spending a lot of time learning new concepts, because again, what I don't want to do is be learning and trying new things when things are really important. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do some hand history reviews, I'll do a couple quizzes. So try to cram in 5 hours a day is probably not the best thing to do. Make sure you're talking hands with people, make sure you're doing some studying, just to make sure that you're staying fresh. And then also, lastly, make sure you're taking some downtime. This is one of the things that always messes me up. Downtime is one of the key things. Make sure you take like a half day or even a full day if you also possibly can. Go take a movie in, go get a massage, go get whatever you need to be able to kind of disconnect. Because you know what, folks, I know, FOMO is super real when you're at the WSOP. Flip on Poker Atlas, there's this great tournament over here, there's this low buy-in one over here, and I want to jump into this cash game, or I got invited to this private game. All those things happen. But you know what? Recovery matters more. Make sure you're turning off your computers. Don't flip on your online grinds and grind more tournaments offline. That is going to be detrimental. Connect with nature, go take a walk. I know it's really hard and hot in the summer, but you can do it in the morning. I like to take my walks between like 7:30 and 9 o'clock before it turns into 110 degrees. So those are some of the things that I potentially do as we think about it. So if you want real more life prep tips that are coming out, most vlogs don't cover, well, hit subscribe. We're going to keep it balanced and help you stay profitable. One of the things that we're going to be able to do is we can help you put together a WSOP budget spreadsheet, which you can track your buy-ins, re-entry, food tips. You want to keep track of all of that type of stuff. The other thing we can do is help you put together a very light daily routine so you can know when to wake up, what light workouts you have, what meditation, something like a 10-minute meditation or something like that, and what your late reg window should be. And then also make sure we have an exit plan envelope. So what happens, this is money that we don't touch, we've always got money for some flight and to pay your bills. We don't want any tilt spending. We don't want to put the entire trip on the last tournament. That's dangerous, folks. I know we've all been there, but you know what? It may not be the most balanced poker thing to do. So let me ask you, what's the one thing that drains you the fastest in Vegas? Is it sleep, food, social life? Well, drop it below. We want to make sure that we hear what you have because your help is going to support someone else. So make this series the best one you've had, not a burnout story that we've heard a million times before. So subscribe here, share, and remember, bracelets are won months before the cards are dealt at the WSOP. It's all about the prep you do ahead of time. Thank you all so much. Send your mailbag questions in. I'm Jason Velasco. Have a great day.